So according to the Complete University Guide, Manchester has a rank of 22 out of the whole of the UK, which is exceptionally high. So not only has it made it into the top 50, it's made it into the top 25 in the UK. It has an overall score of 77%, entry standard score of 79%, student satisfaction score of 74%, and research quality score of 87%. So very high stats all round. In terms of its rank from the whole world's perspective, it is ranked 34 in the QS World Rankings 2025 with an academic reputation of 95.6. So in terms of the world's perspective of the University of Manchester, it is also ranked exceptionally high. Not only is it in the top 100 in the whole world, it's in the top 50 in the whole world. And considering there are thousands of universities in the world, that is a really impressive feat. It was established in 1824 and it is also a Russell Group. So if you don't know what a Russell Group is, it's basically a group of universities that have a shiny badge on them called Russell Group, which means they know what they're doing in terms of teaching. So you can rely on them to be a really good university for you in supporting you with your studies. In terms of acceptance rate, it does vary depending on source, but most of them cite the acceptance rate as 59.3%, so slightly higher than the universities that I've talked about previously, but still fairly low in the sense that out of 1,000 people, 400 people won't get accepted. You will need to make sure you have a strong personal statement if you're applying for 2025 entry, good grades, good interview performance, and if you want help with your personal statement, I've made a guide which basically has all of my advice that got me into King's College London, Bretton and Sussex Medical School, University of Southampton and University of Portsmouth, so it does work. If you're interested, the link is in the description of this video, so go check it out. So the University of Manchester has a single campus where all 3 faculties are located within Manchester city centre, so it's all quite central and in one kind of area, which I personally prefer, because with city universities, what I don't like about how it's all like spread out and all over the place is you have to commute from one area to another. I like it all being in one place. It just kind of frees up headspace for me, and also I like having all my fellow students in one place, so I'm able to see them a lot more, I'm able to see all those familiar faces rather than seeing like one person over there, one person over there. Manchester has been ranked as the most livable city in the UK according to the Economist Global Livability Index of 2022. It is very, very diverse. It has students from over 170 countries, and not just in terms of the student population. If you know Manchester, you know that it is quite a diverse area in the sense that there are lots of different cultures rubbing shoulders together, which means the culture within Manchester, the food, everything tends to be quite diverse and interesting and colourful, which is quite nice if you want to have a range of experiences. There are 5 different museums, including the Imperial War Museum and Manchester Museum, so if you like history, then obviously having 5 museums in the city that you're living in would be a really nice thing for you. It has multiple galleries and libraries, including the Manchester Art Gallery and the Whitworth Art Gallery, so if you are into the arts like literature and, you know, arts as in like painting, then obviously that is another plus point for you to consider. Now I move on to the sports. Manchester is obviously known to be very synonymous with football because you have 2 of the major clubs, Manchester City and Manchester United. In terms of other sports, if you are into cricket, you can watch both national and international cricket at the Lancashire Cricket Club. A place called Sports City is 3.5 miles away from the Manchester main uni campus, and they have an array of sports facilities, including the National Cycling Centre, which is home to the Team GB track squad, which is actually really cool. It's not just that, there's loads of other sports facilities within Sports City, and they also have another place called Chill Factor. I probably butchered the name of it. It's spelled like Factore, so Chill Factor, I don't know. The UK's longest real snow skiing and snowboarding slope. If you're into the athleticism in terms of running, then they also have the Great Manchester Run, which is an annual 10k run. So if you like doing those kind of fun runs or like those kind of organised events in terms of running, then obviously you have that thing to consider as well. Now in terms of food, obviously Manchester is a big city, and as I've mentioned before, it's also a really diverse city, so there's lots of different cultural foods to explore. They have Chinatown in Manchester, which is like the biggest Chinatown outside of London's Chinatown, I've heard, if I remember correctly. They also have a place called Curry Mile, where they have all these, I believe, Asian and Middle Eastern cuisines, like restaurants and street food as well, I think, within Curry Mile. So that's also something to, you know, consider if you're a foodie like me and you like having foods from different cultures and different, you know, countries. Vegetarian, halal and kosher foods are widely available in Manchester, so there's something for everybody. In terms of shopping, Market Street is a really good place to start in terms of your bog standard high street. I have good department stores at a place called Exchange Square. In terms of like the top designer emporia, you'd find all of that in Spinningfields. There's also a place called Trafford Centre, which is the second largest shopping centre in the UK, which is a short bus ride from Manchester city centre. Speaking of buses, Manchester also has excellent travel networks with local bus, rail and tram services with discounts for students, so that's great if you're broke like me. You can get local timetables from the advice service within the Students' Union as well if you're confused about any of that. Speaking of the Students' Union, now let's talk about the societies. There's over 400 societies within Manchester University, which I think is the largest amount out of all the universities that I've spoken about previously, and those societies range from knitting to scuba diving, so again there's something for everybody. In terms of accommodation, there is a range of accommodation, but of course you would want to be selective because obviously if you're going to be moving there and you're a student, you're likely going to be on a budget. Halls of residence are typically cheaper to live in than most other forms of accommodation, so just keep an eye out for that and make sure you choose something that is tailored to your budget and make sure you're quick with it as well. And finally, I always like to finish with weather. The Manchester weather is not known to be great. It's up north, so it's gloomy, it's rainy, it's cold. So if you don't like that kind of weather, consider a university down south. Don't go for universities up north like Manchester because you'll be miserable there if your mood depends on weather like mine does. And yeah, that's about it. I don't think I have anything left to talk about other than good luck with your university applications or whatever it is that you're doing. You got this, and yeah, bye guys.